Can start. Those in the back can come closer. I mean, those just come. Come on, here, last. Okay. The front seat is reserved, but then you can. Yeah. The very front seat row is reserved, but then the others you can move forward. Forward, no forward. Majula. Yeah. Song ye chenan so ye jonam ha chanjo bardo dame jaso je da ye jeje ye ben sonam ye jola benje sam ye joba shu son ye chela so ye jonam la chanjo bardo dame jaso je da ye jeso ye ben sonam ye jola benje sam ye Jobara Jo Zangye Jeba Chanjo Bardo Nani Gyazo Je Daye Jenzo Yebe Zanangye Jola Benje Zangye Jobara Jo Semje Tamje Dewa Dam Deve Jo Dembora Jurji Semje Namje Dongye Dan Dongye Ye Jodan Chewara Jurji Semje Namje Dongye Mebe Dewa Dan Menje Wari Jurji Semje Namje Niri Cha Nidan Jebe Danyom La Nebora Jurji Oh, so she be Good evening. Yeah. Okay. So the topic is how to be born in the Pure Land of Amitabha, right? And we were discussing Pure Land in general, the possibility of a Pure Land. Pure Land, because the Pure Land is a piece of land that belongs to, or that the Lord of which is a certain Buddha. So we talk about the possibility of a certain Buddha. So the Pure Land, the term pure means no suffering, no negative emotion, yeah? And is it possible that there's a certain place that we can go there, to a certain place, and then we feel no negative thought, no suffering at all? And if there is such a miraculous place, then the owner of that place, so to speak, has to be a wonderful, a marvelous person. The owner is basically of the Pure Land. The Lord of that Pure Land is usually it's a Buddha, an enlightened being. We talk about the possibilities of whether becoming a Buddha, becoming enlightened, fully enlightened, is a possibility or not. If so, becoming Buddha is basically seeing the ultimate truth, having a direct perception of the ultimate truth. Yeah. But by doing so, seeing the ultimate truth, how can you still help others? For example, so these are the topics that we discussed last night. So we will continue from that. So we come to the point of, we did talk a little bit about the Buddha recognizing the truth, seeing the truth, that being the seeing the truth, as well as the essence of the truth itself being the Dharmakaya, or the truth body. So body meaning a collection. So the truth body is basically the truth itself, an amalgamation of all forms of truth, the ultimate truth, conventional truth, everything together. That the very essence, I think, for a lack of a better word, in English we use the term suchness, that which it is. Yeah. So there's no, anyway, that is the ultimate truth. Recognizing, seeing the ultimate truth, the very nature or the very essence of realizing or recognizing the ultimate truth. That is the Dharmakaya, the truth body. But the truth body itself is just a fact. It's a fact. Fact itself, even in layman's term, a fact is a fact. It cannot do anything as a fact. It has to be moved, it has to be activated, it has to be shifted, it has to be utilized so that it will serve a purpose. Left on its own, fact is just fact, right? Ultimate truth is truth. Truth means fact. Fact by its own, even in layman's term, it doesn't do anything. In order to utilize the fact, or in order to use the proper Dharma word, in order to use the Dharmakaya, the ultimate truth that is recognized by the Buddha, that is seen directly by the Buddha, it has to take a form. If it doesn't take a form, without a form, without a shape, it cannot do anything for the sentient beings or the people. So the form is rupa. In Sanskrit, rupa, form. Then body, kaya, rupa kaya. Rupa kaya is the form body. It takes the form. The body takes a form. So it's a rupa kaya.
So of the form, there are two types of form. One that can be seen only by high achievers, or in other words, Arya bodhisattvas who have reached at least the first bhumi, first ground, and above. That one is privy only to the high level bodhisattvas. So there are, for the enjoyment of the high level bodhisattvas alone, for a lack of better word, they are the privy of the high level bodhisattva, for the enjoyment of the high level bodhisattva, for lack of better word. So, enjoyment body. But as we discussed last night, some bhog is to consume, to ingest, to engulf in. Some is all, everything. So consume everything, take everything. So it has that connotation. So the body that takes everything, or the form that takes everything, that is the Sambhogakaya. Or in other words, if the Buddha is to appear or to take a form, the most perfect form that can ever be taken is the form of Sambhogakaya. So that's why it's called, the long form is Longzhi Dzogpe Gu. So anything that has any form, any perfect form that can be taken, has been taken, completely taken form. Sambhogakaya. Yeah? But once again, that is privy only to the high level, Arya Bhumi Bodhisattvas, Arya Bodhisattvas. So therefore, in order to help countless multiple sentient beings, it has to take a form, an appearance that is visible, apprehensible for all, right? If you have a concept that is, you have a very good, very powerful idea, concept. If you want to help, if you want everybody to use that idea, you have to explain it in such a way that everybody can understand that, right? If you use terminologies, terms that is very difficult to understand, that will not, it will be useful, of course, but only to a certain elite, certain high level, what we usually call people with sharper faculties. Yeah, no, it's not for all. So therefore, in order to appeal for all, so to speak, the Buddha takes the form of Nirmanakaya, which is manifesting form or emanating form. So it emanates in the form that is beneficial for you. Beneficial for you does not mean like selfish benefits, but whatever form is it the most appropriate for the Buddha to take in order to liberate you from samsara, from the lower realms, from samsara, from nirvana, etc. Then the Buddha takes that form. So it is an evolving form. It is an emanating form. The shape changes to suit the person to whom it was manifesting. Okay? So you would see Buddha appearing in India. It has a certain appearance, right? Very similar to the appearance of the Buddha that is depicted. It's very similar to what an average, good-looking, handsome Indian gentleman would look those days. Then you go to Thailand, you depict the Buddha in a certain way, elongated neck, and the the features appeal to that tradition. Come to China, you see Buddha with a mustache. Have you seen? Ah, haven't seen. Because mustache and beard are associated with wisdom. You have the, Kongzi, Confucius, and Lao Tzu, and everyone bearded. So there are Buddha that are bearded. Yeah, because to highlight wisdom. So you go to, and the attire also changes. Buddha also appears a bit plump, heavy, because in our tradition, in the Eastern tradition, heaviness is associated with bountifulness, plenty. Yeah, so it changes. When depicted in Indian mythology, for a lack of a better word, once again, Buddha's hairline. Buddha has a very long hair, and it's tied into a bun, resembling the sadhus, the Indian the yogis who live in the Ganges or in the mountains, usually bearded, emaciated body, like a skinny body, and then usually bearded. Most of the sort of the sadhus, the tantric, they very long hair. They never cut their hair, make it into a bun. So you see the Buddha's Ushnisha, the crown, as depicted as the bun in the most of the Gandharva. If you go to Bodh Gaya and many of the Buddha images that were depicted in the old temples, ancient temples, a lot of them were what is referred to as the Gandharva Buddha. So Gandharva is Kandahar in Afghanistan. So it's a corruption of the word Kandahar, which was inspired by Greeks. So there's actually two types of Buddhist art form. One which is Greco-Gandhar inspired. So you see the Buddha having a bit of a six-pack. Not exactly, but a very, I don't know how to put it. Very fit, very flat tummy. Yeah, you've seen that. And also some bulge here, biceps, not too apparent, but somewhat. So, which is an inspiration from the Greek gods. Anyway, but the hairline is, they try to copy or they try to emulate the same hairline the sadhus usually have. So it's a long hair tied on a bun like that, made into a bun. Then you go to other traditions, it changes differently in different traditions. Because if you go to Sri Lanka, the art form is different. The Buddha there has a bit of a bulging tummy, because that is what the princes, the royals, would usually be. They would be a little bit, not too gym enthusiastic, right? So you have that one too. My point is that the emanation form, the Nirmanakaya, keeps changing based on the society that it thrives. In order to depict Buddha as the perfect being, the person to whom we should all emulate and follow, good looking is very necessary. And each culture has different way of recognizing good lookingness. So the Buddha, in order to the Dharma to thrive in that particular nation or place, the Buddha has to appear in a form that is most appealing to that culture. Tibetans, Chinese, most South Asians, Southeast Asian love brocade. Buddha is clad in brocade. Reality, Buddha never wear brocade. He wears yellow robe or ochre, robes of ochre color, similar to the one that's worn by the Thai monks. That color, that is the color. That's ochre. We want to depict the Buddha as the best version of human as possible. So sometimes, in order to make it the best version, unknowingly, we harm the Buddha's image. In Tibetan, we used to say, which means if you do not know how to praise a person, those who do not know how to praise and praise, denigrates their image. Those who tries to denigrate or criticize but do not know how to do it properly actually ends up uplifting that person. If you try to criticize someone and you don't know how to do it properly, then you end up being the butt of the joke. You end up being the fool, and you become you are on the receiving end of the joke, right? But if you, similarly, if you do not know how to praise or give a congratulatory remark to someone, but you don't know how to do that properly, instead of raising that position of that person, you actually lower that. Not because of that person's fault, but because of your fault, because you don't know how to. Sometimes, in order to decorate, or in order to lift the status of the Buddha image, sometimes we offer precious garlands to the Buddha image. Luckily, this Buddha is free from that. There's one here. He cannot wear that, he's a monk. So, cannot have. But people do put garlands on the Buddha sometimes. The Nirmanakaya form, Sangha, monk, cannot. Sambhogakaya form can. Sambhogakaya, 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 can. A lot of time, due to our culture, we make the mistake of uplifting someone unknowingly, putting Buddha's image or imagery to a level or status that we should not be putting. We think we are upgrading it, but we are actually downgrading it. Anyway, the point is, the Buddha's emanation form is very much dependent on cultural nuances, cultural norms. And so that's what we discussed, in length. We reached up to that point last night, we stopped there. So I'm just expanding on what we ended last night. Now, at the end of the day, of course, it is the message of the Buddha that is the most important. How he looks and all this is important, it's auspicious, but not that important, as important as the message of the Buddha. So therefore, we have the mind, body, and the speech of the Buddha. The mind represented by the stupa, the body represented by the statue, and the speech represented, the teaching represented by the books, Dhamma scripture. So, the perfect order of placing the holy objects is Huh? So the statue, the statue, the stupa, and the text, what would be the most proper order to place them? What comes first? Statue, teachings. Then secondly, statue. Third, the stupa. So yeah, a lot of time sometimes we made the mistake of placing Buddha's image, or sometimes even rosary, mala, on a Dharma book. Cannot. The book is the most important one, because the book represents Buddha's teaching. Okay, if you are placing a mala to bookmark, that's a different reason, you know. Other than that, Dharma book cannot put anything on the Dharma book. Let alone statue, of course. Everything else, no, right? Even Buddha's statue, you cannot put on the Dharma book. The Dharma book goes above the Buddha's, above the Buddha, above the statue. So a lot of time, in the monasteries, we have the statue, the bookshelf above the altar for the imagery or the statues. For example, we have here on the side, but it's elevated to the topmost corner, very topmost level. So then the statues are below that, and then the stupa, which represents the mind, can be below that. Because it's only through the statues, only through the scriptures, the teaching, Buddha himself said, right, that he can help sentient beings get liberated. So the statues, the scriptures stand out. The scriptures, the most important, the paramount. Then the imagery. I will explain why you need the imagery. Even though we think, okay, mind is the most important thing, which is represented by the stupa. Second is in the order of paramount, the priority, the statue is secondary. Imagery is the secondary, whether statue or tanga, whatever. And then the third one is the mind. Because these are all symbolic. The scripture is symbolic of the teaching. The statue is symbolic of the Buddha's body. And the mind, that's the stupa of the mind. Because we are talking about that subject anyway. That's why I just shared. We cannot put anything on the scripture. Dharma book must be heavily respected, highly respected, and cannot put on the floor. Cannot. If a book happens to slip out of your hand, you must hold it, put it on your head to seek a blessing. The same goes with mala, rosaries too. Okay. Just saying. Then also don't put statues on top of a book, Dharma book, in general, like that. So because these are all representative. The most important representation for us is the Dharma book, the Dharma. Only through Dharma, learning the Dharma, can liberate us. So therefore, the scriptures are paramount. Secondly, we have the statue, because by seeing, there is something called liberation through seeing, liberation through sight, liberation through hearing. Some mantras, by hearing the mantra, the sound of that mantra, incantation of that mantra, reverberating of the energy of that mantra, when it touches you, you get liberated. So liberation, there can be a lot of misunderstanding, because you might say, oh, that's so easy. You hear the name of the Buddha, then you're liberated, like you just escape samsara, free from samsara. So liberation, if you are in great pain, right? Great pain, and through some medicine or through some treatment, that pain is reduced, then you say, I was liberated from that pain. Not completely, but you were liberating. So that relief is regarded as liberation. Because it is a liberation to someone who is going through acute pain. So one who is going through acute suffering of samsaric suffering, samsaric pain, then hearing the Buddha's name, especially a lot of time when we don't get the relief, we don't get liberation by hearing the Buddha's name or seeing the Buddha's image, it is due to heavy obscuration. Usually we get bhajatupo, heavy imprint or thick imprint, negative imprint we have. So we cannot get the same, we do not get the sense of relief or liberation that we are supposed to get. If you look at the story of Buddha during Buddha's time, when he teach, every time the teaching is over, majority of the students become arhat, the rest become non-returner, stream enterer, a different level of realizations are achieved. At the very least, they become what we call lamishuk, which is someone who has entered the path. Yeah, like that. Why it's not happening to us? Because we have such a heavy obscuration. Yeah. Anyway, so you might be wondering why I'm talking what I'm talking about. Why isn't he talking about Pure Land? So once again, build up. So the Buddha's mind, body, and speech, yeah, especially the body coming in two forms, Nirmanakaya and Rupakaya. Understanding that is very important. The emanation part, very important. Earlier there was some question, someone asked me about the Buddha appearing, so I told you, last night I spoke about Buddha appearing in the form of animal, and inanimate objects like rocks and things like that. So someone actually misunderstood that rocks can become enlightened to become a Buddha. So someone did ask me that question earlier. So in any case, those of you who are here or maybe listening online, Buddha appearing in the form of inanimate objects, Buddha taking the form of inanimate objects, and inanimate forms like rock, themselves becoming Buddha. These are two different things. Buddha taking the form of a dog or an earthworm, and an earthworm becoming a Buddha, these are two different things. So there was a confusion regarding that. So I just want to clarify on that. This is from last night's teaching. Earthworms can become a Buddha, but not as an earthworm. Okay? Rocks cannot become Buddha. But Buddha can take the form of a rock in order to liberate sentient beings. Can take form of earthworm, so many other things. Like that. Okay. Now, the Buddha, in order to help sentient beings, right? The Buddha is the awakened one. Usually we call him the awakened one. So awakening basically is awakening from the deep slumber of ignorance. So he's the one awakened. What awaken usually means when you're asleep, you don't see things. Everything that you are seeing is a blurry image, something. It's your own projection to an extent. But when you wake up, you open your eyes, then you start seeing things. So to become a Buddha means to see things, see the reality basically. So we have another term for that, which is called omniscience. Everything that is to see can see, far, near, micro, macro, everything, nano, whatever you can see. So especially, so Buddha is renowned for seeing things or understanding things, omniscient mind. So there was this line from the Pramanavartika, the commentary on the epistemology, yeah. By Dharmakirti. Anyway, so in the book it says that the simple tangi bengela kaya nyakome langdang torje teni ni kapchera to zebai. What that means is, does Buddha know how many microorganisms are there in the universe? Yes, he does. Or how many atoms are there in the sand beach of the river Ganges? Yes, he does. He knows all of that. Yeah, but he's not regarded as the Buddha, the all-knowing one, because he has those information. Because that information has no use to us. Like, to us, that information, how much insects there are, these are not. It does help you if you are in, if you are studying, if you are a biology professor or whatever, right? But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really help us to get liberated. The reason the Buddha is known as the omniscient one, how much of microorganism that he is aware of, he knows, has got nothing to do with us. And that is not the reason why he's called the all-knowing one. The reason he is referred to as the Buddha, so because he knows what is to be taken and what is not to be taken. In other words, what must be abandoned, what you must let go, and what you must keep. That is a reference to the Four Noble Truths, actually. He said, keep the two and leave the two. Leave the first two, suffering and its cause, leave them, don't keep them, let go. And nirvana and its cause, the path, must be kept. The Four Noble Truths is divided into two. The two to be kept and two to be abandoned. So Buddha is renowned because he knows what must be practiced, what must be adopted, what must be applied in practice, and what must be abandoned, what must be let go, what you must not be practicing, what you must not be following. And he taught accordingly. Don't do this, do that, don't do that. Don't do this, do that. That's what he said. Don't do this, there are two. Suffering and its cause. Do that, there are two. Nirvana and its cause, the path. He said that. So, so because he knows the path, he knows the answer of the path, he knows the answer to what must be kept and what must be abandoned. For that skillful talent he has, he is regarded as the Buddha. Now, we will step back. We will take one step back. So a lot of time, what we think is Buddha being the omniscient, the all-knowing one. So how does that sort of affect us? If someone is very highly informed of all the things, it doesn't directly involve us. Just because, so all-knowing one means the one who has all the information. Just because someone has all the information doesn't necessarily do anything to us. Right? So for this, we have to go a little bit deeper into the word all-knowing, what knowledge means. For example, if you say, I know how to cook, it's not about whether you can describe how many teaspoons are needed, this and that, just because you can describe. But if I tell you to cook, you cannot cook, then I cannot say I know how to cook. I cannot say I know how to drive a car, a locomotive, or an aeroplane, whatever. If I do not actually know how to do it, if I cannot drive a car, I do not know how to drive a car. If I cannot cook, I do not know how to cook. You getting what I'm saying? If you cannot write a good story, you do not know how to write a good story, isn't it? Right? So knowledge has the connotation of ability. Buddha, all-knowing one, meaning he knows how to solve the problem and he knows how to solve future problems and solve past problems and avoid future problems. That means he can do it. The reason he is referred to as the omniscient one, the one who knows how to do it, means the one who can do it. If you cannot do it, you cannot say, I know how to do it. If it's just theoretical, if you just read something and never cooked, then you cannot say, I know how to cook, because you never cooked. Yeah. So Buddha's knowledge means Buddha's potential. Okay. So when we talk about Buddha being the all-knowing one, the omniscient one, it means Buddha is also omnipotent. Omniscience has omnipotency lying behind that. If you are not omnipotent, you cannot be omniscient. Okay? If the Buddha is omnipotent, then we are connecting to what we spoke last night. Then he indeed is a marvelous individual. He can do miraculous things. Because he is the all-knowing one, that means he is the one who can do everything. If he cannot do everything, he cannot know everything. So knowing everything has the connotation of doing everything, the ability to do everything, right? So that is very important, because usually we say, oh, Buddha is the all-knowing, oh wow, he knows everything, wow. Then it doesn't really do much. A robotic camera, a surveillance camera can see, but on its own cannot do anything. There has to be a person behind to do something about the situation, right? If Buddha's omniscience means just to see and cannot do, then Buddha being omniscient doesn't help us in any way. So omniscience has to be backed by omnipotent. Okay? Which we just covered. To say I know how to cook means you can cook. Otherwise you cannot say I know how to cook. Just because you can read a book on cooking doesn't mean you know how to cook. Yeah. Now with that being established, we know that Buddha has the omnipotency. Yeah. And then, so that omnipotency and the omnipotency and the omnisciency, the ability to know everything, the ability to do everything. The ability to know everything is usually referred to as primordial wisdom of the Buddha. Manjushri, Kemba. Yeah. Kemba means knowing in Tibetan. That means the ability to know. Ability to know has the connotation ability to can, to ability to do. So the ability to do, the potential, omnipotency. The Nuba in Tibetan. Nuba as a noun means energy. Nuba as a verb is ability, ableness, to potential. The Buddha's potential ability to help sentient beings, liberate sentient beings, this and that, represented by Vajrapani. Nuba, ability. Yeah. And then there's one more. What is missing? Compassion, yeah. That is represented by Jersey, yes. So these three abilities, or these three qualities, enlightened qualities of the Buddha, everything that the Buddha does, everything as a Buddha, as an enlightened Buddha, your activities for the sake of sentient beings are involved within these three things, these 3 points. First, knowing how to do it. First having the care to do something. Then knowing how care about your problem. Then the knowledge how to solve the problem. And then the ability to solve it. Care, know, do. That is Kenze Nyusum. The knowledge, Kempa, or the wisdom, the Tsewa, or the compassion, and then Nuba, the potential. Without that, if you become a Buddha, if you are no use to me, you become a Buddha, you are free from suffering, you are all by yourself, it doesn't involve me at all. You're not helping me in any way. But because Buddha has these three qualities, most importantly, he has the compassion, so he doesn't give up. Unlike the Arhats, who are the solitary Arhats, who wish to be liberated just for oneself, because of the great compassion he has, he is there for us. He is looking back after reaching the destination, the horizon. He looks back. But if you look back, if you do not know, you just stumbled and got there, and you do not know the path properly, you cannot help. So he knows the way to cross the ocean of samsara. That is the wisdom. And not only that, he has the potential to take you there. That is the Vajrapani, that is the potential. That is the, sometimes Vajrapani is referred to as the Lord of the potential, or sometimes Lord of the secrets. So anyway, so here we have Vajrapani, Manjushri on the right, wisdom, Kemba, knowledge. Then Vajrapani on the left, potential, the Buddha's potential to liberate sentient beings. And in the center is Shakyamuni Buddha. So all we have to do now is, in place of Buddha Shakyamuni, replace that with Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha, red in color, all the attire, robes, everything same. Then in the meditative posture. So Amitabha as the Lord of the realm or the Pure Land, flanked by Manjushri on the right and Vajrapani on the left, and then encircled by other retinues, other Buddhas, Bodhisattvas all around. That is the Pure Land of Amitabha. As simple as that. So Amitabha's Pure Land. If we go into great detail, we can talk about all the qualities and the features of the Amitabha's Pure Land. In summary, that is what Amitabha's Pure Land. That is the Amitabha's Pure Land is basically headed by Amitabha in the center, and then the two Buddhas for wisdom and potential flanks him, to whom you practice, you engage in your practices of offering, genuflecting, prostration, and then accumulating merit practices, reciting the mantra and so forth. By doing so, and then most importantly, after doing the offerings and other practices, engaging in the bodhicitta, and the dedicating merit after all that. First, visualizing the Amitabha's Pure Land. Amitabha's Pure Land, which is a Pure Land is basically a land, a place where there is no negative emotion, free from suffering, all pleasant. That is same of all the Pure Lands. In this particular Pure Land of Amitabha is Amitabha in the center, the two Bodhisattvas or the Buddha in this case on the side, to whom you practice making offering, prostration, and the rest. Then engaging in bodhicitta, then dedicating. Once again, envisioning the Pure Land, practicing prostration, offering, and so forth, puja, basically. Engaging in the bodhicitta, and then dedicating all this to be born in Amitabha's Pure Land. These four things is called the four causes of being born in the Pure Land of Amitabha. As simple as that. Once again, envisioning the Pure Land of Amitabha. Yeah. I will explain later what all this Amitabha, how it looks like in this and that. Envisioning Amitabha's Pure Land. Engaging in puja. Puja means to offer, to delight. That's the meaning of puja. Puja means to delight. So to delight the Bodhisattva, to delight the Lord, to delight Amitabha, engage in the bodhicitta practices, and then dedication. Envisioning the Pure Land, engaging in puja, engaging in bodhicitta, generating bodhicitta, the two kinds of bodhicitta, in a simulated form, of course, and then dedicating. These four things are called four causes of being born in Amitabha's Pure Land. As simple as that. And that's the end of being how to be born in Amitabha's Pure Land. But now if we are to break them into, okay, how does the Pure Land look like? I think that's what we are interested in, I think, right? So that can be, so there's a big question about whether there is a physical land out there called Dewajingishin, right? The land of bliss. Land of bliss. There are two ways to look at that. In one way, you can say there is a physical place. Maybe if you get on the, what is it called? spacecraft, spaceship, right on that. If you fly for 200,000 years, I don't know. Anyway, 200,000 light years from here, there's a place called the land of Bliss. And when you reach there, you can get off your aircraft, and then everything's pure, no suffering, nothing. This is something that we love to envisage. No matter how, human beings are very funny. We think we are very logical, sound, rational people. At the same time, we believe in magic and miracles. Everybody who says they don't believe in a certain magic, but then they do believe in other forms of magic. We all do. It's just a matter of to what extent. So we also believe that there is a place, physical place, get into an aircraft maybe, I don't know, and get there. Well, we don't believe, we do believe, this is the thing, this is the irony. We believe that Amitabha's Pure Land is a physical place. If it's a physical place, is it reachable physically? So technically, theoretically speaking, by getting on a spacecraft, which can, carry 10 billion gallons of fuel, if it travels for 200,000 light years, 200,000 years or something, eventually it should reach there if it's a physical place. But do you think that is the case? Yeah, you don't think so. But you still believe that Amitabha's Pure Land is a physical place. If it is a physical place, it is a rationally, logically, physically existent place. Therefore, theoretically, if you take a flight, you should be able to reach there. You don't have to die in order to get there. Right? But then we pray that at the time of death, through transference practices or other practices, we be able to be born in Amitabha's Pure Land. We never say, let me be able to go to Amitabha, traverse to Amitabha's Pure Land. We always say, let me be able to, transfer. Transfer is a very big word. Right? Go there and transfer there is two different things. When you do a wire transfer, money transfer, it's not actually going there. When you transfer from the US to here or from here to India, that money is not exactly going there. It's just an information being exchanged, and your bank and the bank in India, they have an agreement and they give that amount. It's basically being transported. It's kind of a magical thing if you look at it. Yeah, transfer. And that's why we believe in the transferring process, that we die, we do the proper thing. The moment we die, boom, we are in like a Pure Land, right? Instantaneously. So if we can transport to that place instantaneously, we don't see that place anywhere. It's not physically there, but if we can still transfer to that place, which is a physical place, that means it's in a different realm, and it's on a different scale, different plane from the realm that we are existing. So in other words, even though it's not purely mental projection, it is not with Amitabha's Pure Land or any Pure Land is not a sheer imagination. It's not an imagination, but it still is a product of your mind. It's a product of your mind in the sense that it's not an imagination, but you create your own Pure Land. To back that up, I will use one sentence from the Buddha. You are your own master. You are your own slave. You are your own master. You are your own creator. You can create bad experience for yourself. You can create good experience for yourself. You can create your own nirvana, your own Pure Land, or you can create your own hell. Okay? You end up in hell, it's due to your own doing. You are responsible. Point the finger at yourself, blame yourself. Suffering, it's your doing. You silly thing, right? You are in heaven, you are in human life, you are in the Pure Land. It's also due to your own doing. Congratulate yourself, a pat on the back. Anything that's good happening in your life, it's due to your own doing. Pat on yourself. Anything not going well, it's not the system or not that person or this or that. It's also you. Immediate causes this and that. But if you go further, it's all you. If you are ready to take the credit, you must be ready to take the blame too. Yeah? Take the blame and take the credit. You are your own master. You are your own enemy. You create your own Pure Land. You create your own hell. So this is not just, I'm not making this up. I have a quote to back this from the Bodhisattva Chaya Avatar, Chantideva. Jakse sashi sui che. Mezo teda jile jung. Tendra teda tamje kyang. Diksemi matuber sung. Who created this infernal hell filled with eternal fire? All these are nothing but the byproduct of your own thinking. So was said by the Tathagata. So when we say it's a byproduct, a product of the mind, we're not saying this is a mere imagination. It's real to the one who is experiencing it. In human life, when you go through a depressing moment, your life is a hell. Yeah? We say, I'm going through hell, hellish life. When it's going pleasant, you can be in the most backward place or country in the world with the most modest equipment. You still, there's bliss, great bliss. Example, Bodh Gaya. Blissful, yet backward. Come out of the stupa, right? Come outside, lacking in this, that, everything. Everything that we need to survive or to thrive in the world, mundane life, lacking. But still, we still go there. Why? There's bliss, there's pleasantness, accumulate merit, and all that. So, in that understanding, the Pure Land, the Pure Lands, though they are not pure fiction, they are product of your mind. Okay? If your mind cannot create it, meaning if you do not accumulate the proper merits, you will never reach, you will never be able to procure a place in the Pure Land. Okay? Okay, so, okay, just try to go a little bit. So it's usually said that there, as we discussed earlier, there are so many. Okay, so one thing, if you get the idea of Pure Land, if you get the proper understanding that Pure Lands are product of your mind, then you will also be able to understand that all the deities are also product of the mind. So the Buddhas, the deities being able to emanate in different forms, it also becomes a possibility. If you think they are objectively real and true, then there is no the Buddha or the deities, I would say, if you look at the things what we do, what we did, how wretched we are, there's no reason why the Buddha should look at us, should help us. Every time, every instruction that he gave us, everything that he told us not to do, we are doing. Everything he told us to do, not doing. We are not worthy of the Buddha's blessing and everything. But because they are emanating in the form, in appearance, in an aspect, as a product of our mind, so we can create the deity. That's why self-generation, we are generating our own deity. Visualize, especially when we do initiation, now visualize the statue in front of you is none other than the actual deity, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, etc. Why? Because Manjushri, you as a Manjushri is your mind's creation. Your mind's creation does not mean it's imaginary, it's false, it's fake, no. It's fiction, no. Your mind can actually create it. It is a reality. Mind can affect matter. The reason all of you are here today, you physically have made it here, is because your mind first decided that you will be here. And then your mind moved your body and other faculties and told you, okay, you must go there. 1 week later, there is a program, this and that. And today, you could have done so many other things, decided to come here. Mind moving matter. Mind creating reality. This reality is created by mind. Your mind, my mind, all together, we have this collective existence, gathering. That's what's happening. So that is the potential of the mind. Yeah. Anyway, so the Pure Lands, there are many forms of Pure Land. Of all the Pure Lands, the Amitabha Pure Land is one of the most popular one, along with that of the Medicine Buddha. The Pure Lands of the Nirmanakaya Buddhas, because Medicine Buddha, also Nirmanakaya, monk, simple, 2 hands. The facial feature, everything looks similar to us, only 2 eyes, only 1 nose, etc. Very easy to envision. Amitabha, same. You only have to change the color to a little bit of redness, which is also a possibility. There are people who actually look quite reddish. So that's not very hard to do so. So the easier it is to envision, and the mantra, especially Medicine Buddha mantra, is quite long, but Amitabha Omami Devashi, very simple. That means now we come back to what we talked about earlier, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, accessible, inaccessible, right? Nirmanakaya is accessible. all the Buddhas that are in the Nirmanakaya form, Amitabha, Shakyamuni, Medicine Buddha, very easy to envision and very easy to chant the mantra. So therefore, seeking liberation, seeking answer, seeking relief from a Nirmanakaya Buddha is highly effective in that case, and is basically applicable for all. So therefore, of all the Buddhas, the Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land is one of the most easiest way to get there. In general, because of a Nirmanakaya form and the mantra being short, and in particular, because the prayer aspiration that he made, the pledge that he made. So all the Buddhas become Buddha as a Bodhisattva. They become Bodhi. All the Buddhas were Bodhisattvas, okay? Bodhisattvas are Buddha to be. So aspiring Buddhas, that's a Bodhisattva. So a Bodhisattva is someone who has a bodhicitta, yeah? So Amitabha, in his time as a non-enlightened being, basically as the very first time ever when he generated bodhicitta, he made the promise that I wish to be, when I become every Buddha make this promise, a pledge. I wish that when I become a Buddha, let there be this, and that. You know, remember Medicine Buddha, 12 prayer, and this and that. So Amitabha made the same prayer, most importantly that when he becomes a Buddha, he has a Pure Land. Anyone who hears his name at the time of their death, anyone who envisions his Pure Land, with his imagery, they'll be born in his Pure Land. Until then, until such a Pure Land with such a quality, such a facility is there, I wish not to be enlightened. So when he got enlightened, he was endowed with a Pure Land that has such a feature. So therefore, those very attractive features of Amitabha's Pure Land is very much entrenched in the wishes of Amitabha when he made the bodhicitta pledge, bodhisattva pledge to begin with. So therefore, by praying to Amitabha, by envisioning his imagery, the name, the Pure Land, this and that, we will be able to be born. And a lot of other Buddhas, in order to be born there, if you remember, we do a lot of the initiation, we have to do the self-generation. We have to be born, we have to envision ourselves as a deity to be born there. Amitabha's Pure Land is the only Pure Land where we can just envision ourselves as ordinary beings. You don't have to rise as the deity, but just being in your whatever rest state by reciting his name and his imagery, his vision, you can be born in his Pure Land. Like that. Okay. Have any questions? Or you? Yeah, go ahead.
There is this Chinese so-called teaching that because just now you mentioned the left side is Rajapani, but in the Chinese the left side is actually Amitabha. Is there a difference?
Is there a difference?
Yeah. In case people go wrong,
Oh, we end up with the Chinese Pure Land. Not in the Tibetan. No. I think so. This is the thing. Kenzen Nusum, compassion, bodhicitta, potential, and wisdom has to go along, go along with each other at all times. So if one of them is like apparently missing, is not there visibly, it means the central figure is envisioning, is embodying them. So for example, here Shakyamuni Buddha is embodying compassion. You mean like in the Pure Land case? Yes, in the Pure Land, in the Amitabha Pure Land case, because Amitabha is the lord of, the 5 Buddha families. The 5 Buddha, Vairocana, Akshobhya, Ratnasambhava, Amitabha, and Amoga Siddhi, the 5 Buddha family. So any sentient beings, when they become Buddha, they have to be part of, they have to be born, or they become part of one of those 5 Buddha families. So there may be 1 or 2 rare cases, but that's a totally different story. 99% or 90%, 99%, okay? 99.9%. All the Buddhas born have to be one of the 5 Buddha families. Only exception is Vajradhara, because Vajradhara is usually known as the all-encompassing one, so he's not part of any of the 5 Buddha family. Other than Vajradhara, any Buddha is part of one of the 5 Buddha families. So generosity represents what? Compassion, bodhicitta, right? So Amitabha is Lord of generosity. If you have the 11th face Amitabha, he's sitting on the, on the very top, the crown. All the Buddhas, they are crowned by their Lord of the families. Sometimes visible, sometimes not visible due to different reasons, but it's always there. 11th-faced generosity, you have the Amitabha on the crown, you have. So Amitabha, because he is the Lord of generosity's race, which is the lotus race, lotus race, right? Lotus race. Is it lotus race? Yeah, it's lotus race. So Amitabha's race is called, or Amitabha's family is called the lotus family. So therefore, Amitabha is the Lord of generosity. So therefore, he represents compassion himself. So compassion is already at the center, and then flanked by wisdom and potential. So if you put, did you say Vajrapani, generosity on the left, or whatever, there's generosity in Manjushri, right? Most of the Tankas in Tibetan Tanka, or if you have a Buddha Shakyamuni, there's always a generosity and Manjushri and generosity, or Manjushri and Maitreya. We have that. So Maitreya always represents method, or the compassionate aspect, the bodhicitta aspect, and Manjushri always represents wisdom. And sometimes in lieu of Maitreya, we have generosity. Manjushri is always rather, most of the time Manjushri is always on the, I think Manjushri on the left. Yeah, because moon and sun. So moon usually on the right and sun on the left. But it depends on what that particular principal Buddha in the center, the central figure is representing. So if he is a Buddha for wisdom, then the wisdom, the essence of wisdom, personification of wisdom, which is Manjushri, will sit on the right. If he is that of method, the central figure is a method, then the method essence, or the method personification, which is Maitreya or generosity, will sit on the right. So it changes. But most of the time, Manjushri is on the right, because wisdom on the right and compassion on the left, like that. So, because Amitabha himself represents compassion, so it's not necessary to put or hire generosity on the left, because he himself is the Lord of that family, so he's there already. And because all Buddha, everything has to do with the three principles, right? Compassion, potential, and wisdom, knowledge. So knowledge and potential on 2 sides, and compassion is at the very center, like that. So no need to put put Chandrasekhar on the side. But because if you don't put the Chandrasekhar on the side, Chandrasekhar is represented by Amitabha himself. If you put Chandrasekhar on the side, that is also okay, it's not contradictory, so that you're not doing anything wrong. But usually you don't need Chandrasekhar, because Chandrasekhar is already embodied by the central figure, which is Amitabha, like that. So once you know that Amitabha himself embodies Chandrasekhar, then you'd see there is no need for another Chandrasekhar, or there is no need for another Buddha for compassion, because Amitabha himself is embodying Chandrasekhar's essence, which is compassion. Make sense? Yeah. But yeah, there's two different traditions. It may be two different traditions. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we put Chandrasekhar below Amitabha? So you have 1, 2, 3, Amitabha, and then Vajrapani, and then below that of Amitabha is Chandrasekhar. So it's all at opposite.
Yeah. Amitabha, you don't need to put below Amitabha. Chandrasekhar, no need to put below Amitabha. Actually, Chandrasekhar came from Amitabha's heart. You know, right? So yeah. I don't understand, why do you need to put Chandrasekhar below Amitabha?
Because quite a number of this so-called drawing.
Oh, if you want to like organize an altar, you mean that way? Yeah. So if you are setting up an altar, then the order may be like Amitabha and Amitabha. The order is Amitabha first, and then Chandrasekhar later. Yeah, next to that. Yeah. But I'm not really sure about putting him below. Yeah. But if you want to have an order like 1, 2, 3, 4, then Amitabha. Usually, as a Buddhist, we must always put Shakyamuni Buddha in the central figure. There may be many other Buddha. He is not the first one. He's not the first Buddha ever, anyways. But he is the and in this era too, he's the fourth one. But this is his reign. Yeah, his reign is supposed to last for 5,000 years. So it's his reign, and he is the Lord of this era. So Shakyamuni Buddha should always be the central figure. Then on his right, so when you want to do the order, usually the center is the number 1, right is number 2, left is number 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, keep going like that. So for example, you will have Shakyamuni in the center, then Amitabha on the right. If you have Amitabha and Chandrasekhar both, Amitabha on the right, and Chandrasekhar should be on the left, not right, because the order is Amitabha is senior to Chandrasekhar. Yeah.
Seems like your 4 courses to Pure Land is more simpler than the POA. So difficult. So use this kind of.
I can say again, please. I don't get the question. Sorry. It's more easier than POA.
POA is more complex.
POA is yes. And your question was? I don't know about that. No. In order to do the most easy practice, you need to be the most advanced practitioner. You know, in order to do the most advanced practices, you can actually be the simple one, because advanced practice means there are so many steps, so you can follow one by one. In order to do the most simple practice, usually simple is concise. Concise means it has everything that the extensive one has. That means when you say, for example, last time we talked about this, right? That one, that we must do not do any harmful deeds, right? Do not do any negative deeds. Collect wealth of virtue, and then subdue your mind. That is the teaching of Buddha. So this actually encompasses all types of Buddha, all Buddha's teaching, right? Dode Denu, the Sutra, Due Denu, the Vinaya, Mumbe Denu, the wisdom aspect, all of that. But to know that these 4 lines encompasses everything, you need to know much more. The thing is, if we can practice this, follow this, I only use 4 lines. I said, envision the image for the pure land of the Buddha, the Amitabha, do puja, practice bodhicitta, right? And then dedication, that's it. I use simple words. It's like saying, going to Dharamsala is very easy, get a plane ticket and go there. I said it very easily, but in actuality, you have to take the journey. It's a long journey. You have to take the ride, this curvy drive, everything. What I didn't explain is how to engage in bodhicitta, how to do a proper puja, which I was thinking of doing it tomorrow maybe.
Yeah.
Proper puja, proper prostration. What is a prostration? Why it should be prostrate? What is the meaning of kowtowing, right? Genuflecting, bowing down to someone. How can that help us? These things I didn't speak. If you know all this, yeah, then it's just 4 steps. Envision the image of the Pure Land. Envision the Pure Land. Engage in puja. Engage in bodhicitta. And dedicate. That's it. I use simple words. The practice is much further than that. Much more than that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any more question? Oh, right on time. Okay.
Gyewan di nyudon da lama zangye zhubgyoro nen zhawa chi kyang ma lu banki sala ngu bara shu jangju semjo rembo che ma ye panama ki gyoro keba nyamba me bara yang kone kong bewara shu pama semjin tamje dedan den gyoro Ngendro namje tado dongwa dan chanju zemba kana sosho deda gwenye melan zhugyo ji